now we're going to get into actually downloading it, unpacking it, and getting it in the correct, ready to actually start using it. So on the site, you can always just go to the Getting Started tab at the top, and then over on the side here, just click Getting Started, and it's going to show you where you can download it. You can download it at Bitbucket, or you can actually just it's a Git repository, so you can actually just take a clone, and then that way when updates come out, you can actually just do a Git pull, and it will just update your framework without having to go and do all this headache. Git is nice because it will show you what has changed, and if there's any conflicts with your customizations, it's a real clear, straightforward way of working with someone else's code. So let's install this bad boy. Alright, so now we're going to clone it, and for now it's going to ask you for a password, and this is until this ArcPHP goes live. Alright, so now we should have, yep, so now we have the private folder and then the public folder, and here it shows that the private folder stores anything, of course, it's self-explanatory, anything that's not supposed to be accessed from straight from the internet, and the public folder is meant for anything that's okay to be public. Really doesn't need too much more explanation. So of course public, you know, the standard or the norm is public underscore HTML. Those of you who customize Apache completely for your needs, then usually you set it to whatever. So you can customize this in the config file, but for now that's what it's set at. Alright, and then now it says verify your Apache mod rewrite is working. So let's try that again. Okay, so now we're gonna create the NetBeans project for this. So of course, whatever ID you use, that's fine with me. Now we're going to set it up so that it saves to the website, and let's make sure that doesn't happen, and on save, and URL must have, okay, and let's press finish and have it go. Alright, so now if we look at the code a little more, here's the private folder, here's the public folder. Inside the private folder, you have the core files, which you should never really need to go in there unless you want to help modify it or see what's going around, so that way you can maybe fix a bug or whatever. The MVC, this is pretty much your area. This is where you can throw all your stuff into, and be pretty sure that on an update it's not going to mess with any of these files. Of course, if you're using a Git repository, it's going to tell you if it's going to have to overwrite something, so that's why that's the best way to go. And then the plugins folder, this is where you can actually just go throw in your plugins, and this is what's loaded at a higher level than the MVC. And I always just create a vault where I can just throw stuff that I don't want to be public but I want to have private. You can name it whatever you want. For this example, I have it just set on vault. So alright, and then the public area, you have the media folder, which has the fonts. This is used for the image handler, which isn't being used at the moment, but it will be. You can just ignore this file or use it or whatever you like. Images, this is of course where you throw all your images, and you can create as many folders in here. This is your area. Alright, so now we have the HT access file, and if you look in here, we have this one's currently commented out, and that's because it gives a actual bug if you actually have that enabled and you try to just go into the regular home page without an actual index or something at the end of the URL. So this is actually a fix, and I could probably just remove that. And so here's where if the file exists on the server, then don't do any of this. If, let's see, if, you know, the same thing goes for this too. So when you go here, the rewrite rule, this is what converts the request and then sends it into the application. If you notice, it has the underscore PHP, that's for a reason. It's so that you know right away if mod rewrite or the URL rewriting rule is working. And that way you don't get a mixed signals about it looks like it's working but none of the links work, or it looks like it's working. No, if everything's enabled like the last video showed, you will have no problem with this setting. If you do have a problem with the setting, then that's definitely because you're probably need to set up Apache correctly. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload all this so that way we can get cranking or cracking. Alright. So that's done. Alright, so let's go back to our document here. Alright, so it says here, okay, once you have all this done, which we just did upload it to the server, now it says verify your Apache mod rewrite is working. So now if we go to ArcPHP or whatever your domain is that you're setting up, and you hit it, it's going to say setup is needed. Now let's say that you didn't have the correct Apache settings. So let's go. Let me quickly turn it off. So I just turned off mod rewrite or the allow override, and this is the screen that you now get whenever you go to your home page. So that's the difference between the two. If you get the setup is needed, you're good to move on to the next phase. If you get this, you need to actually go and make sure Apache is ready for you. By either making sure that the htaccess file is in the public folder, it's provided with the repository, or also check the actual